Welcome at the Center for Fine Arts today. Let's start right here on this stage, in this hall full of sounds and words and images, in this room packed with memories. Can you think who were here on this stage? Stravinsky, Armstrong, Bartoli, David Byrne, Patti Smith, Lou Reed, Woody Allen, and also John Malkovich, musicians from Congo, Turkey, India, and in fact, the whole cultural world was here. What were they doing here? They all traveled to Brussels, to this stage, to communicate to this stage, to share their talents, their feelings, to practice the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. And that's what artists do. They cross borders, they bring people together, and they unite. During a concert performance, we feel united in a temporary harmony. We do not necessarily share the same ideas and emotions, nor do we share the same cultural backgrounds. But we do respect each other's diversity. And BOZAR does not only give the floor to artists, but also to economists, representatives of the civil society, world leaders. And Barroso spoke here about a new narrative for Europe. He said European citizens should be inspired by the great achievements of European culture and history. Above all, Barack Obama gave here his first speech in the capital of Europe. Let us listen to what Mr. Obama said.
Do not think for a moment that your own freedom, your own prosperity, that your own moral imagination is bound by the limits of your community, your ethnicity, or even your country. You're bigger than that. You can help us to choose a better history. That's what Europe tells us. That's what the American experience is all about.
One of Obama's quotes that strokes us most was, instead of fearing the immigrant, we can welcome him. And who are we? We is the United States. We, that's Europe. We, that's the world after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Let us be honest. Also today, there are walls that divide countries and continents. Not only in Baghdad or Korea or in Israel, but also in the United States and in Europe. And the Spanish enclave are surrounded by a wall. Here in North Africa, the concept of Fortress Europe becomes visible. Here in North Africa, the Berbers lived in what Europeans are called the region of Barbary, the land of the barbarians. True, in a globalizing world, external borders have to be protected. But let me ask you this. At which side of the Mediterranean Sea do the barbarians live today? The Mediterranean is called a cradle of civilization. The Greek, the Romans, the Ottomans, the Arabs, the Spanish, they held at Moment de Gloire around the sea, But the Mediterranean is also an area of world of conflicts, historical wars, but also conflicts of today. And think to Syria, Israel, Egypt, and Libya. And let us look at another work of art, The Table of the Mediterranean by Michelangelo Pistoletto. And you can visit it at BOZAR today. In the room, we move freely around the sea, from Spain to Italy, from Turkey to Syria, and further up, to all the African countries of the Arab Spring. And we can sit on different chairs from the region and discuss history, culture, and politics. This is a mirror. The work of Pistoletto unites the visitors and the regions. The work of Pistoletto reflects us. And what does it tell us? A sea can be a space of cultural exchange. A sea can become a wall. But a sea can also become a graveyard. And there is a sense of urgency. That's why Pope Francis went to European Parliament last week, and we simply cannot allow the Mediterranean to become a vast graveyard. Europe is the world's most dangerous destination for migration. Only this year, over 3,000 migrants died trying to reach Europe. These are the reported deaths, but the real figures are much higher. People are dying in the Mediterranean as we speak. We have to help them. What can we do to stop this tragedy? The migration issue is not really a matter of prevention. It's also about reaching out to people. We need the brains, not only from America and Asia. We need also the brains and the creativity from Africa. As you see, David Adjaye, architect, will be the co-curator of the next Biennale of Venice. Migration has a lot to do with perception, with framing, and how do we look at the other side of the sea. During and just after the Vietnamese War, Europe and America welcomed 800,000 boat refugees. They came in tiny fishing boats. They were perceived as heroes, and they were the victims of communism. They were seen as an added value. The artist Dan Vo was one of them. He escaped in Vietnam in a boat in 1979, and he was 4 years old, and he got sheltered in Denmark, and he became an artist. This work is called We the People. In fact, Dan Vo made an exact replica of the Statue of Liberty and sold it in massive pieces recently through the internet. Why? Why? Because liberty lies in pieces. The statue that attracted so many immigrants has become a symbol for neocolonialism and blind capitalism. The boat people of today who are coming from Africa are called fortune hunters. The word fortune is cynical. Let me remind you, 26 African countries are at war today. Obama calls immigrants job creators. That's a positive message from an economic point of view. Are African immigrants perceived as an added value for our economy, for the European society? Do we see the African immigrants as a source of creativity? Not yet, and not enough. We are overwhelmed by negative images on Africa. We associate Africans with diseases that have to be locked out. AIDS in the 80s and Ebola today. Let's not only concentrate on the dark images of Africa. Let us show the light, the energy, the hope. Africa is not a lost continent. Africa is the continent of the future. Africa is the continent of the youth. And can art change the world? Not alone. Artists are specialized in images and stories. Artists can help to change the perception of the world. And one last image, the German artist Thomas Kilper has a dream. He made a lighthouse for Lampedusa. The artist is looking for support to actually build this lighthouse on the island of Lampedusa. The image is a very useful work of art. The light reduces the danger of a shipwreck. We may now allow the Mediterranean to become a graveyard. But the lighthouse is also a strong image, a symbol of hope, solidarity, creativity, freedom, and stability. What can we do to spread this message of hope and solidarity? We are gathered here in this concert hall, in the capital of Europe, and nearby the European Parliament. Let this concert hall become a lighthouse today. Let there be light. And have a nice day. Thank you.